Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to all of my money magnets. I hope this past week was prosperous and you were able to try to start your budget. If you're anything like me, you're a visual learner or have to like do it, learn kinetically, touch it, feel it, be in it, do it. So this week, what I'm going to do is give you two examples of real life budgets that I know firsthand about. And then I'm also going to speak on the envelope method that I know a few different entrepreneurs who basically mainly work with cash, what they do for their budget. So, budget number one, this individual is paid on a monthly basis. They get a set amount every month, and that amount is $1,754 that they get at the beginning of the month. From that budget, they pay $889 in rent. Um, once that's paid, that leaves them with $865 for the month, right? $100 goes to utilities. That brings them down to $765. They average $200 for groceries, sometimes more, sometimes less, but again, it's an average. So if you leave it in the account, then it'll go over to the next month if you come in under that, and then it'll balance out when you go over that because there should have been something left over for months you were less than that. You picking up what I'm putting down? I hope so. So that brings them down to $565 left. Phone bill, $55, brings them down to $510. And then from there, car insurance. Car insurance is $135. Brings the balance down to $375 left, right? Gas is another 100. That brings them down to $275 left. And then they pay $20 a month for their TV service through Philo. That brings them down to $255 for the rest of the month. Excuse me. They slide $30 into a savings account that still leaves them with $225 for the month. Now, they allow themselves $125 for allowance because what you shouldn't ever do, I won't say never, but what you shouldn't ever do is spend all of your money, right? So they give themselves $125 for allowance to spend on the stuff that they want for the month. This particular person, they get their hair done, they get the eyebrows done, they get their toes done first of the month. So that's what their $125 goes towards, and then every once in a while, if they want to like go out to eat or whatever, they figure it out. That's how they make it work. So that still leaves $100 in the checking account in case of emergency. You never know what happens. The other thing is, remember, in this budget that I talked about, they've already put $30 away. One thing that I also want to stress, I brought up last time, is that $125 allowance, they pull it out of the account and they have it in cash. Why? Just like when you were a kid. You don't want to break that first 20 because you know once you spend that 20 it's gone, or you want to break that 100 because you know once you break that 100 down in the 20s then the money is gone. So you're more mindful of your spending when you're using your cash instead of a credit card or a debit card, I should say. Right? So that was budget number one. I know I went over that kind of fast, but you can run it back if you want, like run it back. So my point is to say I'm giving you two extremes to show that you can save on any income for the most part if you budget and discipline yourself when it comes to your financials. The other thing is these numbers are based on California. Now this rent number that I gave you is low. However, this particular individual has Section 8, so it's based on their income. So yeah, that's how that works. However, I do know in some other states rent is even lower than that, but whatever, that's neither here nor there. Get into the budget aspect of it and catch what I'm trying to explain to you or show you. You got me? Now the second budget that I am going to talk to you about, this individual is paid twice a month. Not every 2 weeks, but twice a month. If you pay every 2 weeks, then you get 26 checks a year. Catch my math. 52 weeks in a year divided by 2, that's 26. If you get paid twice a month, that's only 24. 12 times 2 is 24 all day. All right, anyway, let's move on. So, the first deposit or amount of money that's deposited into the account at the beginning of the month is $2,350. Now, I want to give you a little sidebar or a side note. Remember how I talked to you guys last week about having a separate account that you put money into if you can before it even hit like your main account? This individual has $640 that goes to a separate account every time they get paid. That way it's not even really factored into the budget. But and then even with doing all that, there's still money left over in the end. It's just like tailoring your lifestyle and being disciplined, as I said before. So boom, the deposit at the beginning of the month for the first pay period is $2,350, right? The mortgage is paid twice a month instead of once a month, and we can get into that later on when we talk about making payments and stuff. The sooner you pay something off, the less interest you're giving to the other person. That's more money in your pocket in the long run when you look at it. But anyway, mortgage payment, $1,216. That brings the account down to $1,134. Budget for groceries, $200. Now, mind you, sometimes it goes over this, sometimes it goes under this because life happens. I get busy season happen. I'm not cooking this individual isn't cooking as much. Okay. Walmart is in the budget. Why? Because it's cheaper to buy certain things from Walmart than it is to buy from the grocery store. Things like your personal items, your toiletries, things like that. So that's $75. Oh, let me back up. When you take out that $200 for groceries, that brings you down to $934. You take out $75 for that Walmart, that brings you down to $859, right? In Sacramento, there is this thing called SMUD. SMUD covers the electricity. So that's $120. That brings the account down to $739. Car insurance, $223. That brings you down to $516. Water, sewer, garbage. Whenever you're a homeowner, you have to pay water, sewer, and garbage. So that is $119. That brings the bank account down to $395. PG&E, which is the gas portion of the bill for the home, that's $105. And that brings it down, the bank account balance down to $292 for this first half of the month, right? Then there is internet, which is $105. That leaves the account at $187. Now, if this individual wanted to, they can give themselves an allowance for the next 2 weeks of, let's say, $100 or $87. Just depends on however you want to work it, because as I said before in the beginning, there's already $640 going to that other account, which is the savings account at the beginning. That's not reflected in this budget. It happens seamlessly to where the individual doesn't even really see that money. Most of the time they forget that it's going in there because they haven't seen it, right? Now, the second half of the month, it's for the most part the same as the first half with a few exceptions. There's still the mortgage, there's still groceries, there's still Walmart. Does this individual spend this amount on Walmart every 2 weeks or every pay period? No, but it's still in the budget. That way, if you need more at one point of the pay period, or one point of the month than the next month, it's still there. It's already been allocated. You know what I mean? Some months there will be a surplus carrying over, and then sometimes there may be a deficit, but it balances out in the end, right? So second part of the month, the second pay period, pest control, $89. So I told y'all the first three things. Now the account is at $770. after pest control comes out. This individual doesn't have like standard cable, Hulu with all the bells and whistles. So that's $85. Brings the account down to $685. Phone bill, $175. That brings the balance to the account down to $510 to use however, whatever. Now, in both of these examples, there was no car note, right? Okay, so when you're doing your budget, if you have a car note, add it in there. If you don't have a car, you use Uber and Lyft for mass transportation. Take out the car note, take out the car insurance. However, you would add in what you pay on a monthly basis to get around, that type thing. I know I talked real fast and I kind of rushed through it, but just kind of catch what I was trying to throw to you. You get what I'm saying? Now, as far as this whole envelope method goes, the person that braids my hair, a hairdresser, she uses this method and she got it from one of her friends. My cousin, who is a barber, uses this method, and I'm pretty sure Auntie Savant, I know you do a multitude of things. If you use the envelope method, feel free to leave a note down in the comments after you watch this. But my point is, I have multiple people who use this method and it works. One of my favorite people, Dr. Dee Dee Freeman from Spirit of Faith Christian Center, before she was a first lady, and even probably in the early years, she did hair. And so she handled cash a lot. And her husband, Dr. Mike Freeman, what he would do when he would help her in the shop, he saw that she was just putting money in different places and never really knew how much money she had. He kind of like implemented the envelope method for her so that at the end of the month or at the end of the week, you can be like, look how much money you made. Anyway, long story short, that was 3 different examples. Par 3, it works. So this is what you do. You get you an envelope for every expense that you have in your household. Rent or mortgage, utilities, phone bill, groceries, toiletries, that type of stuff. Everything that we basically just talked about right now that I labeled, or I didn't label, that I went over, every category has their own envelope. And what you do is when you're making your money, you're going to go with the biggest bill first, which usually is your rent or your mortgage. So once that's full, you move on to your next envelope. You know what I'm saying? You just keep that money in, keep putting the money in there based on what you budget. And then after that excess, find a good number. Don't be stingy with yourself, but then don't go overboard either. Give yourself an allowance and also put something in savings. Even as little, I mean, with the inflation stuff, I feel like you need to be putting in at least $10, $20 in that savings account, because in the long run right now, if you go through the drive-through at fast food, I feel like a meal through fast food is like $15-$20, a decent one. So skip the drive-through and just slide 20 in the envelope for your savings. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, so that was it. That's my spiel. You know, I never try to be before y'all long. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at nivea517@gmail. Go ahead and hit me on the DM. Please be respectful. Yeah, I hope y'all getting something out of this. I also want to shout out, there's been so many people that has just been like, I'm not good with this IG stuff, but they just been sending me graphics and different things to like help me do this. So I really appreciate y'all. Check out Braided and Slay. Check out Miss Black California. Yeah, y'all get into it. Thank you.